Welcome to Alternative Investments Chat,
where we demystify the world of alternative investments and financing for entrepreneurs and investors alike.
With these discussions, we hope you're more empowered to unlock opportunities in your business or portfolio. I'm Erin.
And I'm Erica. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Alternative Investments Chat. On today's episode, we are reminding everyone, stay hydrated.
Important.
Very important.
Especially for you.
Yeah, I hate water.
I know.
Anyway, why, you ask? Well, because today we're talking about investing in water.
Yes, that's right. It's the thing that, is in your hydro flask. It's in your Stanley, RIP my Stanley. I put it on top of my car on Sunday and we drove away. So, sorry, Stanley.
We'll get you another one.
Rip Stanley. Or, your Owala or whatever the heck this thing is.
I know. I brought a whole array
Yeti.
of ones today. Just, make sure that everyone, we do not discriminate against water receptacles.
No.
We want you to stay hydrated,
very
right?
Inclusive. And what's important is what's inside of said water receptacle. Not wine, but water. Oh, yeah, put that one away.
Okay. I'll get rid of that one then.
But before you imagine us, trading Evian bottles back and forth like we're, bartering, this is really a rapidly growing sector that is worth talking about. Obviously, we're being a little kitschy today with our water bottles.
We got a lot today, but, we want to make sure we stay hydrated.
Gotta stay hydrated. But it's becoming one of the most discussed alternative investments in the world right now.
Yeah. So it turns out that water is not just for drinking, although we should definitely be drinking it a lot more, especially living here in the desert. It's something wealthy people are honestly trying very, very hard to own.
Yeah.
So take that big sip. I just took mine. And there you go. And let's dive into this asset class.
Let's do it. So you might be thinking, water, really? Like, what's so special or exciting about water? You might be thinking, especially here in Arizona, you can walk into any establishment and get a cup of water for free, and that is the law.
It is the law, actually.
Although they can make you pay for the cup, which I think that's just a really silly workaround.
Yeah.
But first of all, we know that not everything is truly free, right? Or nothing is truly free.
Nothing is for free. So that free cup of water is coming with something.
It's coming with something. But sometimes 25 cents for the cup, Starbucks. Anyways, but second of all, water is the base of life. Mm-hmm. We're made up of water. We need water for agriculture, for manufacturing, for energy production, and also the plants that I know you keep forgetting to water.
Listen, you bought me one and I killed it.
You did really. You did good.
I kept
for
that.
a while.
I'm a serial plant killer.
I was proud.
But yes, I try very hard. I love fresh flowers. I love plants. Flowers, at least I know, are supposed to die.
Yeah.
I've stopped buying plants because I just constantly kill them. I read all the instructions. I watch the videos. I try really hard. I buy the ones that you can sit in sunlight or ones that you're supposed to be inside. And nope. I managed to kill one every time, and I killed a cactus once.
Yeah.
Don't ask. I have no idea. So, as we know, water is the most important resource on this earth.
Yes.
You can live without electricity. You can live without Wi-Fi. Well, some of us can. My nephews probably would. That would kill
They'd
them.
have withdrawal.
But you cannot, no matter what, live without water.
That's true. And here is the scary part. The world is actually running really low on clean, accessible fresh water, aka the water that we can drink.
Yeah.
According to the World Bank, 2 billion people do not have safe drinking water, which is really sad and terrible. And global freshwater sources have dropped 60% since the 1960s.
Yep. And speaking of school, one of the things that we've learned is that 70% of the Earth's surface is covered in water.
Right.
However, only 97% of that water is salt water.
Yep.
So, salt water can't be used for drinking, as we know. Go in the ocean, take a big gulp. It does not taste nice.
Yeah.
You can't use it to water crops, or you can't use it in most industrial uses either.
Too salty.
No, way too salty. So of the only thing I like salty is my caviar. Okay? I like that.
And a margarita.
And a good salt around the rim of a margarita. You're absolutely right. So of that remaining 3% of the world's water resources, only about 1% is actually readily available for human consumption. That's it. 1 measly percent.
Yeah, pretty scary.
Yeah.
And as population continues to grow and agricultural, manufacturing, and now even AI and data centers need that water, supply is continually shrinking. Water scarcity is hitting everywhere. China, India, most of Africa, Middle East, Mexico, Arizona, where we live, California, parts of Texas. Pretty much every continent has significant water stress region that they're concerned about and are having to address in some way.
Yeah, and this is why water is being talked about as the commodity of the century. Investors are seeing this and they're thinking to themselves, wow, this is like kind of like oil, but a little bit less side-eye when it comes to the environment guilt involved here. So, which leads, this kind of thinking leads us directly into our next topic.
Yeah.
Water is being financialized, meaning it's now treated like a commodity you can invest in, trade in, or even bet on. In fact, do you remember when the CME group launched water futures in 2020?
No, but for the sake of this podcast, I looked into it.
Good.
You know, this for those who don't know, we kind of know what we're going to talk about on this show.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're a little bit in the know, informed.
We get to do some research. And don't think that these are the normal conversations that we have behind the scenes.
Exactly.
Talk to me about CME, Erin, on a Monday morning.
No, not exactly. But for the listeners and myself who don't remember this event, it is probably because it barely made the news at the time. This was, however, the moment when Wall Street basically said, yeah, water is an asset class. We need to pay attention to it. Tim McCourt, CMA Group's global head of equity index and alternative investments products, said,
It's a long title. I wonder what his business card looks like.
too long. It's front and back just for his job title. But here's a quote, so I'm going to read it. This futures contract is the first of its kind, providing a host of end users such as farmers, commercial businesses, and municipalities with a new tool to discover water prices with greater transparency and to manage their related risks, all of which help to more efficiently align supply and demand of the resource. And that was one sentence. Tim,
He's long-winded.
Tim, you're a run-on. That's all I got to say to you.
Run-on, yeah. But, you know, while this one product, that future that they created, it only focuses on the California water market. So it can't really address the entire spectrum of the risk related with water scarcity, but it's at least a start.
Sure.
I mean, we got to start somewhere, right? What it did, however, is actually get that ball rolling for other companies to create all kinds of stuff. So actually now we have water rights markets. As you just mentioned, we have water utilities traded on the exchange, which I did some research on those. Might actually be investing. There's some great ones out there. Do your own research.
Very cool.
Get info. Get with your advisor. Please don't take my advice. I as researching for this topic, I kind of went down that rabbit hole.
You found it interesting.
Yeah, how I can help to invest as well. You've got ETFs focused on water infrastructure, private equity, buying water wasteland treatment facilities, which is something we'll kind of talk about a little bit. And then hedge funds, obviously literally buying riverside land like they're prepping for, sci-fi apocalypse or something crazy, like anything that they can get that has waterfront. It's not just people who want waterfront properties. It's these hedge funds companies that want them as well for different reasons. But what does this all mean? Water has quietly become an institutional darling. Right up there with data centers, logistics, and those coffee futures that we've talked about in a previous episode.
Absolutely. So this brings us to the question we always ask, is perhaps the central question to this podcast. Why are investors interested in investing in water? Did everyone just suddenly wake up and think water's really sexy? I'm gonna get into water.
Yeah.
No, but investors did realize that water checks a lot of the boxes that they're, looking for when they're assessing different investments. So let's go over some of the main reasons here. Up first, long-term demand. Water is what we call inelastic, which is really just a fancy schmancy way of saying people will pay for this no matter what. You need water to survive.
Have to have it.
So unlike other things that you can forego a car. You can potentially forego, certain homes or like a certain size of home or whatever.
Or smaller things like your coffee in the morning.
Absolutely.
Your gym membership.
Yeah.
Those small things you have the decision to say yay or nay to.
Yeah. Water you need.
Yeah.
So, people drink it, crops need it, factories use it, power plants rely on it, everybody needs water. And from an investor's standpoint, this is a bit of catnip. There is no seasonal fads. There is no generational shift, and there's no Gen Z killed water, because Gen Z still needs to drink water even if they think it's for old people.
Yep.
Or uncool. Although Gen Z really did bring back water, I will say. It was, they are really like, we got to have the water. You keep your water with you.
It's funny because when we were talking about this episode and we were talking about the Stanley cups, and like, I know you have an array of cups that you use. I have an array of cups. I really don't use them as much for water. I definitely put different liquids in there. But I love seeing the memes on like Instagram and Facebook and TikTok where they're making fun of the girls and their big water coolers and like the keys and the sunglasses, and everywhere you go though, you see a Gen Zer with their water bottle, and I'm like, good for them.
Yeah, I bring my water everywhere.
You do. I don't even order water half the time at a restaurant. So more power to you.
You know what you want. I get that.
Yeah.
Although
there's
I will
water and
say
ice cubes.
The one downside to drinking water all the time, besides the peeing all the time, I was once in a lecture hall in college with 300 students, and I was sitting kind of up in the higher part of the lecture hall, and my hydro flask just rolled down the whole dong, ka-dong, ka-dong, ka-dong.
See, then you shouldn't bring it everywhere.
And it went all the way down. It was very embarrassing. I don't even think I went and got it. I was just like, whose is that? I don't know whose that is.
Who did that?
Yeah,
so
who
rude
did
during
that?
the middle of a lecture.
Yeah, so, that is a bummer.
Yeah.
I also dropped it once in an airport, and the people were frightened. They thought that
Things
I
are massive.
had a
That's
weapon.
Why.
No, I didn't. It was just my hydro flask, but still. So the water inflation hedge is so quiet, though, that you barely know that it's even there. Unlike gold and Bitcoin, who want everyone to know that, what they're doing, how to hedge against inflation.
Yeah. Look at me. I hedge against inflation.
Yes, I'm fancy. I'm cool. Water is just kind of not talked about as much. Water utilities and infrastructure providers can raise rates gradually as costs rise. Mm-hmm. This is the same thing with like energy, electricity, and this often is with regulatory approval already baked in.
Yep.
And all this means is that as costs go up, prices can be adjusted, and if inflation rises, revenue will soon follow.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Pension funds and insurance companies also love water for the lack of drama it comes with in investing in it. It's, a reliable investment.
It's like that weighted blanket of asset classes. You feel really nice and secure. It makes you feel good, safe and fuzzy on the inside, right?
I love a weighted blanket.
So up next on our reasons list is scarcity. We've talked about this about other commodities and why investors love them. They love when something is limited, essential, and getting harder to access. Again, It's one of those things that like, look what I have and look what you don't have. Look at my Birkin bag.
Exclusivity.
Yes, exactly. And they feel really, really, fancy. And water checks all three of those little boxes.
Yep.
So climate change isn't just about summers getting hotter. It's about disruption problems. We're talking about wet regions getting flooded.
Yeah.
Dry regions getting drier. Mm-hmm. Agriculture is shifting.
Yep.
And cities are literally competing.
Yeah.
Competing for water access. Never thought in a million years that I would ever read that. In all my research, and I'm like, they have to fight for water access. So, and whenever scarcity shows up, we know that capital follows. So now I don't want you guys to think that this is because investors are evil and they're like going after, this one little thing and going to take it from you. That's not. Just markets react to constraints like cats react to laser pointers about that catnip. Okay,
Well,
you just go after it.
Yeah, we live in a capitalist society, so
Yeah.
that's just what happens.
It is what it is. It's
You
part
try
of it.
Yeah, try to capitalize on something that's scarce.
Yeah. So next up is a part that no one wants to ever say out loud, that governments actually don't have enough money to fix global water systems on their own. So what do you do? They open the door to private infrastructure funds, utility partnerships, long-term concession agreements, and build, operate, transfer models, which look into those. I'm not going to bore you with all those details. But so what that actually means for our investor friends is they've got contracted revenue, long durations, regulatory frameworks, and predictable cash flow, which we know that's the main thing that they want, is that predictable cash flow.
Absolutely.
This is not speculative investing anymore. This is like the opposite of what we talked about, meme investing. Nope, this bad boy's got blueprints. It's ready to rock. It is lined up, step 1, step 2, and that's how you follow it.
Yep. And you know that if there's a clear path and an itinerary, in a way that we're doing things, I'm in. In fact, if it's not like that, I'm out.
Patty Planner over here, you are always planning. I love seeing your itineraries when you and your husband go on trips. I'm
love
like,
a spreadsheet.
Give me the rundown.
This is when we need to leave. This is how long it's going to take to get there. Yeah, it's important.
Yeah.
But let's quickly talk about a reason that I think you and I like the most, ESG. Water is one of the few ESG investments that doesn't sound made up or makes people kind of roll their eyes. You know, you talk to people about paper straws and they want
investing, and I'm going to take the paper straw and
stab it in your eye.
nose.
Yeah, exactly. Wherever you want to put it.
Yeah.
Access to clean water improves health. It boosts education. It supports economic development. It reduces conflict. We need water. Water is good for us. So institutional investors can invest in water and say, yeah, this helps my return. And yes, I'm helping I'm helping humanity, basically.
Yeah.
Which, frankly, is, a nice change of pace. People like to feel like they're making money off of something that's also doing a good thing.
Yeah.
And speaking of a change of pace, let's go over some of the ways that you can actually invest in this asset class. Right. So good news here, you don't need to buy a lake.
Dang it, I was really hoping to buy a lake.
Yeah.
Actually, our family already does have a lake. Lake Lanier in Georgia. Google it. I swear it's there.
Oh, right.
They did the, I don't remember what year, but we did have the Olympic rowing competition on
cool.
Lake Lanier.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Rowing is
I
cool
have
and
no
hard.
rights to Lake Lanier, just in case anyone's wondering.
But
I
share
want
the
to
name.
pretend that
It
it is a direct descendant of mine, so I get to claim like a little bit of it.
A little bit, a piece of it. There are a lot more accessible ways to invest, though, than purchasing Lake Lanier. Number one, we'll start with water utility stocks. These are companies that deliver water to homes. Think about American Water Works, Essential Utilities. The water is getting to the home where you need, that thing, you turn on the faucet and there's water there.
You brush your teeth, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly.
Twice a day.
You wash your body,
Yes.
you drink
Yep.
the water. So there's stability there. And it's exciting, well, kind of, if you're excited by dividends and responsible infrastructure.
Girl, I love a good dividend payout. I check mine all the time.
Everyone should be.
I know.
That is what's exciting.
Well, another way investors can get in on this, some of the action here with this water is in water infrastructure and technology ETFs. So these include companies in filtration, purification. Like one of my cups down there has a little purifier in the middle. Somebody had to invent that. Pumps, pipes, desalinization, and water management or waste management.
Yep.
Basically, everyone involved in making water clean, safe, and less likely to cause nasty buildup in that Brita filter. Okay, because if you've ever let one sit for a while, I don't recommend it. It's really kind of gross.
Or a brain-eating amoeba.
We won't go there. I got one person in and I'm not going. Not even gonna. Can't tip me.
We want to get rid of those.
Yeah. So the next way an investor may invest is through water rights. This now, however, is very much next level and very alternative. So buying the rights to use water, lease water, or invest in regions where water scarcity increases in value. This is not for the beginners, okay? So, or anyone who has like a morality conflict about controlling the water, like kind of like a Bond villain. Or like the soup Nazi on Seinfeld. No water for you.
Yeah, exactly. That's I'm not sure that that's for me. I think I'll pass on that for now. But because we love balance on the show and like a well-hydrated Virgo, which I am very well hydrated. I can
attest to, yes.
And also Virgo, aka I'm really concerned about balance and planning. Let's quickly talk about the pros and cons. Gotta weigh them out.
Yeah.
We've already mentioned some of the pros, but I feel like they're worth repeating. So we have inelastic demand. People need water every day.
Yep.
Infrastructure spending tailwinds. It's ESG friendly. Global scarcity drives up valuation. It's often low volatility, and predictable cash flow via utilities is also a possibility.
Yeah. So I'm going to quickly run through the cons because I don't want to spend too much time on these because they're little, and we always tell our listeners about all the cons. Again, you guys can do your research. I promise you're going to find all the stuff. They are heavily regulated. There are those ethical questions, slow moving sectors. Pipes don't just innovate quickly. It takes a little bit of time to get those. There are climate risks, and they are not always liquid.
Ooh, but
I know. Yes, I'm sorry. I've been trying not to make any illiquid or liquid jokes in this episode. So now that that's off my chest, I've been doing really good. You know how anything for a pun, low hanging fruit in this whole episode.
That's okay. I'll take them.
Yeah, let's discuss quickly where water fits into a larger portfolio for somebody.
Yep, let's do it. So think of it as a defensive long-term stabilizer in your portfolio. Water investments don't usually spike, but they don't usually crash either. Water exposure can come from the ETFs that we mentioned, utilities, infrastructure, or even innovation. And it pairs well with some more volatile assets like tech, crypto, or commodities even. It's also a strong hedge against inflation and climate-related risk because both increase pressure on water prices. And listen, it's not meant to be your entire portfolio. You don't want your whole portfolio to be liquid. No one needs 100% water allocation unless you're starting, some weird dystopian water empire. And if that's your MO,
listen, no judge. We listen and we don't judge.
Yeah. And that has never worked for anybody. But 2 to 10% exposure could be, a better fitting
option for you. Yeah, I agree. A little bit sprinkled in is always good. So before we actually wrap this episode up, I want to zoom out and touch on something that's a little bit more serious here. Water investing is not just about the returns that we've mentioned. It's really, it's about reality. The global water crisis is not funny, even though I feel like you and I are very funny. This topic is not funny, but it's very important, and it's one that the biggest reasons why it's become investable. Investable, that's a word.
Investable. Invest has become attractive to investors.
There we go. I like investable.
That's a lot more words.
I know. But again, because of the reasons that we mentioned, a lot of people are actually looking into wanting to
attention.
Invest. Yeah.
And here's the situation. By 2030, global freshwater demand is expected to exceed supply by 40%. I don't know about you, but that's a little scary. 2040 is not that far away. Over 2 billion people already lack reliable water access to clean water that they need. And agriculture uses 70% of the world's fresh water, which is also necessary. We need food, we need water, and we need air. Yeah. Not that far off from plants, if you really think about it, you and I. But by 2050, $70 trillion in the global GDP will be exposed to high water stress. Ugh. Climate change, like we said, is making those wet places wetter and dry places, kind of like Mad Max. You ever seen that movie? Or Dune?
Yeah, Dune. I think of Dune, the little sandworm. I'm going to be living in the sandworms forever.
It's a little, I'm parched out here. I'm parched.
I'm parched. Well, we mentioned all this to say that investing in water is not just a market opportunity, an infrastructure play, or a scarcity hedge. It's a necessity. And capital flowing into the water sector can genuinely improve global stability. This is alternative investing that actually matters.
Yeah, totally matters. And the world is heading towards a water investment super cycle, meaning that in the next few decades, this will involve massive investment into water infrastructure, treatment, recycling, and resilience. How are we going to protect this asset? How are we going to make it available and accessible to people? And investors who understand this global shift early are positioned to better support and benefit money from that transition. Again, we live in a capitalist society. But nobody does anything for free out here.
Nope.
In fact, let's pause here for a quick second to discuss something that's very interesting, and it's happening right here in the Valley. This is the Arizona-Mexico desalination project, and this is not made up. It sounds kind of made up, but Arizona is actively exploring desalination with Mexico, and the infrastructure planning is at its core because we need infrastructure to support this ginormous pipe that's supposedly gonna
help
come all the way across here.
It's so here's the deal with this project. Arizona, along with other Southwest states, are facing long-term water stress from the declining Colorado River levels, which is where Arizona gets the majority of its water. Population growth. Just take a look around the valley. How much is growing. We've talked about this in our real estate episodes, our REIT episodes, and even my boyfriend works in heavy machinery, and he has nothing to rent out because everything is being utilized for a data center, more apartments, more homes, because things are just coming into this valley. We've got an agricultural demand because, again, all these people coming in, we got to feed them.
Yep.
And climate volatility. I mean, we've had some of the warmest climates here lately, and it's been very, very weird. So policymakers and investors started asking the wild but very logical question. What if we turn that seawater into drinking water? And then pipe it up north to us?
Yeah.
So I personally feel like this really isn't that crazy of a question. And from an investor's perspective, this might as well be a neon sign flashing dollar signs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Honestly, it really kind of feels like, Survivor. You end up you crash land on the island.
Yeah.
And you're so thirsty and you're either climbing trees for coconuts or you're taking a pot of boiling water from the ocean. You're trying to boil it out.
All the salt out.
Get all the salt out so that you can drink it. That's kind of what it feels like to me.
Yeah.
Perhaps a little bit more high tech.
I hope so, because I don't know how long it's going to take to boil that much water to get it to us.
That's a lot. But this project is going to have massive infrastructure spend.
Got it.
Nailed it.
Hey.
Long-term public-private partnerships.
Yep.
Got a lot of people working on this. Cross-border relationships. Multi-decade contracts. This isn't just going to be, a 1 year, 2 year situation.
No.
Engineering, construction, and energy and water tech all working together to try to get this project across the finish line. This isn't about just flipping stocks. This is a nation-scale problem-solving issue that, we're going to solve with a really big pipe.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Now, to be clear here, is the Arizona-Mexico, it's very weird to put those two together, Arizona-Mexico desalination pipeline fully going to be built and flowing tomorrow? No, unfortunately not. Is it being seriously studied, however, modeled and debated? Absolutely.
Right.
And that's crazy.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy. The simple fact is that this is on the table, and this should tell you everything that you need to know about water investing is actually heading and how important it is.
Yeah. If this didn't matter, then we wouldn't be talking about this at all.
Yeah.
This project has been in the works in Arizona for a while. But again, just because they're chatting about it means a lot. That they put some real thought into this. And I've seen some of the pipes come through, and I read a bunch of articles. Like Buckeye is really hoping this comes in because they're hoping to be 2 billion people in a few years.
Buckeye's popping off.
Buckeye wants to be bigger than Phoenix, and it is weird because Buckeye is
Come at me, Buckeye.
well Buckeye. Anyway, so there you have it. Water, the OG alternative investment, the one asset class that literally falls from the sky, unless of course you live here in Arizona, like we do.
Well, except for the fact that we actually did get a lot of rain this season.
We did.
So, if I was smart, I would have been collecting it, but unfortunately I
failed.
was not. But whether this is from utilities to ETFs to water rights, however way that you're investing or getting involved in water, the opportunities are flowing. Another one.
Another good point.
Investing in water is not just about returns. It's about sustainability, resilience, and helping build a future where everyone has access to the most important resource on Earth.
Yep. So thanks again for tuning in to another episode. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and look for us on YouTube. Again, see us in the flesh. We do record these. We're sorry about that because sometimes, we make boo-boos in the audio, but now you get to see us actually do it in real life and what our faces look like. But anyway, stay smart, stay hydrated, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us. Stay tuned for more insight on our next episode.
And don't forget to subscribe to continue the Alternative Investments chat. See you next time.
Content provided in this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be construed as professional, financial, or investment advice. This podcast should not be construed as an offer to sell or a solicitation of any offer to buy any securities. We strongly recommend that you seek advice from a qualified professional before making any financial decisions.